that was the time when we were like getting on these boys. Like that kind of like vengeance just will fuel a city for me.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Little Miss. My name is Riley, and if you're new here, every single week I pick a topic of conversation designed to make you, the listener, feel as if you're in the room with a friend having the same conversation. I am unfortunately stitching in this intro because everyone's gonna boo. I screwed up the audio for the guest this week for Lacey. And I don't know what it was. I think it was the cord. I'm also stupid. I also had like 2 glasses of wine before I decided to start doing AV myself, before I started to clock in as my own technician. So I don't know. But basically, the audio, it's not bad. It's just not as good as I wanted it to be. I feel like I have a more quality setup than what you're listening to today. But it was such a good episode that I didn't want to scrap it. Neither of us did, honestly. The last time that Lacey was here, we talked about the end of her marriage. We talked about the end of the long-term relationship. Like I said, like she was very wise. And then this time it was more of a check-in on like, how are you doing now? What are some things that family and friends who want to support someone going through this should say or not say? Like, do you men have the same kind of empathy that women do? Like, that's especially when it comes to these situations, these breakups. So that's basically what we talked about, and the intro I recorded in the beginning didn't really make sense because I had to cut out a few of the sections that I mentioned. Anyway, so all that is to say, please don't let this audio throw you off. It's a great episode. Lacey will be back, though, to cover anything that intro said that we didn't. And I hope that you very much enjoy it. If you could like, comment, subscribe, that would mean so much. It helps me keep this podcast going, like money wise, like I do want this to be a career, and B, motivation wise, that when I see you guys like, comment, support, makes me feel like I should continue doing this. So anyway, okay, I will get into the episode. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Little Miss. My name is Riley, and every week I pick a topic of conversation designed to make you, the listener, feel as if you're in the room with a friend. My friend Lacey is back after her last episode where we talked about coming out of a long-term relationship and the grief that comes with that. And today we're back to talk more. So we're going to be going over how she's doing now. It's been a few months since her last episode, her views on masculine traits in men and relationships, and how she's finding her own identity after the end of her marriage. Thank you for coming back. And I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. I love your dress.
Thank you. Yeah, almost as if someone gave it to me.
Oh my gosh, like where'd you get it?
Yeah, so cute. Yeah, I had another outfit today, and then Lacey came in and she was like, I think this would look so cute, and it does. Thank you.
It really does.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And Lacey's wearing Little Miss colors, which is so cute. She found pink and green.
Oh, it's pink and green? Is it the colors?
Yeah, just because like the green couch.
Oh, I didn't even realize there was green on here.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought when I saw it, when you sent me the photo.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, super cute. The last time you were here, the episode did very well. I think mostly because people were like, well, yeah, I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, for letting me basically announce your divorce. That's awesome.
I know.
That was sick for me.
There's only a few ways to do that.
Yeah.
I tried really hard on Instagram to just like subtly drop it, and people are like, wait, what? Like, what happened? It's old news.
Yeah. And honestly, a podcast is probably the best way to drop it.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a great episode. I think you're going to blow all my other episodes out of the water.
No, they're so good, though.
Yeah. As far as like downloads within the amount of time that I posted it, yours is by far like the highest.
I think there's a lot of people like from my like past life, like yes. From where I'm from, that wanted to know what was like going on with my life, and it was a good way to do that. So maybe they were the majority, probably.
I do think a lot of people were just interested in the topic too.
Yeah.
And interested in you. So I have no doubt this episode will also be popular. What was the first thing that you wanted to talk about today?
Maybe we just real quick talk about how, at least my response, or people's response to the episode of last time, really kind of shocked me. Like I sent you, almost 20 screenshots of different messages that people sent, like random people I have not heard from in years and years, like 10 years plus. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, like this came on my Explore page. Like I listened to it and it just really meant so much to me. And I'm actually going through a divorce as well. Or I just went through a breakup. Or, you know, somebody was like, I have health issues going on. And I really like struck a chord with some of the things you said. So I thought that was like really endearing.
That was really cool for you to send that to me.
I did not think that it would have that impact. I mean, just like, I was just being dumb, but.
Yeah. How did it make you kind of anxious to see that, or were you kind of excited? Because I feel like sometimes when I turn the camera, I'm like, oh, me and my close 3 friends will see it.
Yeah.
And then I get screenshots or like people bring it up outside of that. And I'm like, oh, So did it make you feel good that many people watched it?
It made me feel good. I mean, thankfully I was able to watch it before and like make sure it sounded okay. Like there's nothing in there that I regretted saying. So yeah, I'm glad it was just appreciated and not like it's a common reality. Like we really are all alike. And I think that like made me feel better about my situation too.
Yeah. Have you gotten any negative comments about it?
Not
good.
One.
Yeah.
Good. I did tell my friend, I'm like, I'm going back on her podcast. She's like, I don't think you should have your own podcast. I'm like, excuse me. That's not what I'm doing, first of all, but like, how dare you?
Yeah, but also, you probably could.
Good. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
But no, nothing bad. All good.
Good. I'm glad. It was a great episode. I know you were like kind of worried, which makes total sense based on your situation about like what you would say. Mm-hmm. And I remember telling you like, no, like everything sounds good. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, you didn't say anything crazy. Like everything sounds good. So I'm glad that no one else got on your back about it because it was fun.
Yeah. I was careful with my words. I feel like I didn't say everything. Well, of course I didn't say everything, but there were some things like right away when we stopped recording that I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had brought up this topic or thought of this. And so that's why I came to you and I was like, maybe we should do a part 2.
Yeah.
And then people started saying how much they liked it.
Yeah.
And then we had more to talk about and now we have your situation to add into it. So basically we could talk for hours.
We probably could, and we probably will.
Yeah. Let's just also bring out the obvious that I hopefully didn't cause your breakup, or I didn't like, there was no wood to knock on. Yeah. When I was talking last time about how, like, oh, I hope you never have to go through a divorce. I hope you never have to go through a breakup. Yeah. Didn't think it would be quite that
No, that is
soon,
crazy. Which, like, for the audience, for people who don't know, I filmed that episode with Lacey. I had a boyfriend. And then, like, 3 days later, he broke up with me. Mm-hmm. So, and in the episode, I talk about how hard breakups are for me.
And
it was
how
really
hard dating was.
It was really ironic.
You'll never find somebody, like, people would tell me that when I was single. It's like,
yeah. And then I was single again. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. I don't think, no, I know you didn't cause it. I'm trying to... Oh, it's just like a tough question to answer because I have no idea what caused it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think you caused it. I think he was already checked out way before that episode. But it is funny.
Hey, at least maybe it prepared you a little bit. Like got you simmering and marinating in the subjects.
Yeah, I was already thinking about it, so that's true. No, but you've been so like. And I don't want anyone listening to be like, oh, Riley thinks she's in the same caliber as Lacey, because I'm not, because you're married for 8 years. I don't think it's the same.
Honestly, sometimes like the hurt from like a shorter term relationship
it sucks.
Really hurts.
It does suck, yeah. And I feel like I don't think I'm in the same caliber as you at all, but you've been very helpful and like you've just been like very much there for me. Yeah. And it's nice to talk to you and like you were one of the
someone gets it.
Literally. You were one of the first people to message me after I did my breakup episode. And you were like,
remember those messages? Probably had a couple.
And that's fine. But you were the first person to message and be like, hey, Queen, so happy you're doing well. Some pretty concerning stuff you said. And I got those and I was like, didn't know that. And then like I agree with everything you said, but I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't think about anything you said before you sent those messages.
What do you mean? What did I say?
I think you said you were like, hey, like, I feel like you kind of got gaslit a little. Like, you were listening to like the stories I was
listening to your podcast, and then I gave you my notes about it.
Yes. And you're like, like sometimes the communication stuff you guys were talking about was pretty concerning. Mm-hmm. And I read that and I was like, because in my head, even filming that episode, I didn't realize that anything in our relationship was concerning. I was just like, this is just like, this is just the way we were. This is how we were. Yeah. And then the way that you phrased it in those messages kind of did, and I thought about it a lot after you said that.
Looking back, like, red flags. Yeah. It's always red flags when you look back.
It always is. Yeah.
Always a red flag. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
I'm excited. Okay, so tell me about you. How long has it been since you filed? How long has it been?
We still technically have not filed.
Okay, but you've been like...
Okay, we're kind of like doing things in a backwards way than most people where we're like getting everything agreed upon and signed before we file, whereas other people file with the court and then it's like a back and forth and then they come to an agreement and then...
And like, I know nothing about divorce proceedings, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Who would? My way through this situation.
But since we've talked, how are you doing? Any updates? Yeah. Tell me what's going on with you.
Ooh, okay, so yeah, it's been like about 8 months since we had separated, and we knew, well, he knew, we were getting divorced like quickly, like 2 weeks after we separated. So yeah, it's nearing almost 8 months for all of that.
Okay.
I think that I've had like some space, obviously, from the situation, and I'm able to see it kind of from zoomed back now. I think it's so interesting how like your brain, while you're in the moment of trauma and like tragedy and survival, literally, like your brain is just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
So it only allows you to focus on certain things at a time. So I think at the beginning, and I kind of wrote down what I feel were like the phases of grief that I've experienced so far. I'm sure there's going to be even more. But I put like the initial first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks is obviously denial. That's the first thing you usually hear about grief. So you feel like you can't believe like this is happening to you. And again, we talked about that a lot on the last one. We really fleshed out that thought. But I put on here disassociation. Like you're almost like viewing what's happening as like you're playing a scene in a movie. And either this is not your life or it's like a dream or a nightmare. Well, yeah, we know it's a nightmare. And I remember just like, just trying to get through each day, trying to get your head screwed on. And I wrote on here too, like, you've heard of The Body Keeps the Score. I've never read it, but I know the concept of that.
I read the first part, yeah.
Yeah, like we all know, like your body is like holding the trauma, and sometimes your brain can't like keep up with your body in a weird way. And we're going to start out on a really dark note, but like I remember first couple weeks, like I felt like, oh, I'm sleeping fine. But like there was like a day when I like woke up and I like had like scratches like on my body, like from myself. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? So it's interesting how, it's just shock.
No, I do very much believe in that.
You cannot you cannot like feel the gravity of it until much later of how much of a big deal you're going through, because your body's just trying to like take it one day at a time. So
were the scratches like
early? We were going to go so into this. we can. Go ahead.
Were the scratches like early on in the separation, or were they more recent?
A long time ago.
Okay,
like at the beginning.
And then that makes perfect sense. Plus, like, I've never been married, but I would imagine that like you're sharing a bed with someone for years.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people ask me that, like, how are you sleeping at night? And I remember feeling like first, like, I'm sleeping good. Like, I think I am.
Yeah, almost better.
I did feel like I was sleeping better in a weird way too at the beginning. Kind of because it was like an escape. Every morning I would wake up and like remember, like, oh, that did happen. This is real life again. So anyway, that kind of takes me into the next phase where my sleep definitely suffered quickly after that. I think this was like at least 4 weeks, 6 weeks in, and you're just in that angry phase and hurt, and it's just so intense. Like you're just an open wound every day, and it's that anxiety that I was talking about last time too. Like things are just going to keep getting worse. You're feeling very hopeless, and you're also like replaying the most recent like hurtful things in your head, trying to process it and trying to make sense of it when it just doesn't make sense. It never will. Which
I also think that's like a big difference between like what you're going through and what I went through, because I have like hurtful things he said to replay. When you say most recent, I'm like, oh, I have one example. And I think that's the difference between like a long-term and a short-term relationship, is like, I'm sure you have like way more, like this is what he said this week.
It worked its way back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And as you process those things, your brain started to kind of work its way back as well.
Exactly.
So it's like, it wasn't just the thing that broke the camel's back. It was like all the other things that led to that too. But mostly the thing that broke the camel's back. And this is when I noticed like like your body is doing things and you're not realizing it. You're trying to just keep up. But I remember like losing weight very quickly, weirdly. And I don't know. I just don't know if that was like my metabolism was just like on speed drive, because it was like, we gotta like run, we gotta, in like biological terms, like if you're in that sense of survival and anxiety, you need to be like light on your feet. You need to be like ready to go, high energy. And I did shift into like I was very sad at this time and very, very in pain, but I started having more energy and almost like a manic energy and sleeping less, eating less, losing weight. And then that kind of brings me into the third phase because we talked about this on the last episode, but like finally like putting away some of the hurt and just be like, I'm not going to focus on what happened or him at all. I'm going to force myself to pour energy into myself. And even if I have to fake it, I will just keep going. So then I was getting like almost like a happy high from all of that and like getting support in unexpected ways and just like getting validation as well, like from the right people. It really just put me in the right direction. And yeah, I would definitely say at that point I was refocusing on myself and having that like joy again, but it was still like a anxiety way. Like and I really would tell my sister, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'm like barely sleeping. I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and like have so much energy. And like I would literally like go on like a 5-mile run at like 6 a.m. and go to CrossFit and then just like and it felt good to do all those things. And I knew it wouldn't last long. And so I was like, let me just do all this while I have the energy because I know how dark things were. And they're going to be back. And yes, they are currently kind of back. But I mean, we talked a lot about that phase. And I was definitely in that phase on the last episode. Yeah. So catching you back up to speed, like now, I feel like I went through a phase during January where I was having a lot of stress and just feeling overwhelmed with the divorce and like all the paperwork and all the legal stuff and all the financial stuff and just getting like a daunting feeling of what I'm about to go into and like the responsibility now is on me to make my bills and all that. So that kind of like distracted me and occupied me as well from some of the depression that I knew was going to come back. So that was tough. I was like literally so spread thin. And then at the same time, like I was doing a lot of social things because I was in that kind of happy phase a little bit still. Yeah. But I was starting to sink back into like, I am feeling so burnt out. And I made commitments to this, that, and the other thing. And like, I'm just not feeling like I'm there anymore. And I have all this going on. So I've actually had to like put limits on myself, like more recently on some of that and not plan things like ahead of time too much, not plan huge things with people or trips even. Like they got to be like small and they got to be like short term, like so that I know like the mood I'm going to be in when I get there.
Which is super fair.
Yeah.
Also, and like this has nothing to do with me, but it is super nice of you to be there. So for me, like when you were going through all that, well, because my breakup was in January.
Yeah. I didn't really, again, I'm looking at it with hindsight. Like, I didn't realize the shift that was starting to happen. And it wasn't like, I'd say you were like early January.
Yeah.
I started getting a lot of just being overwhelmed and stressed about the financials and everything like mid-January. Like, I came back from my trip.
Okay.
I knew that I had to meet with my lawyer and we had to kind of progress the rest of the divorce. So,
yeah.
No, that was no big deal. Like, again, I can handle a lot of the stuff. It's just like, the up and down, like every day is a little different. Sometimes I'm in a really good mood and also it works. So then this is the last part I'll say. Okay. This is a long question then, but the fifth phase is what I'm kind of currently in. I feel like the last few weeks have been this way because we did have our kind of like final mediation meeting where we figured out what we're both walking away with and we're ready to file paperwork. And even though it's not like finalized truly with the court yet, it just feels like the end.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that was really, really hard. I also want to talk about like, there was something where I was feeling like between the months of October or like November to January, like I was like, I cannot muster up any tears anymore about this topic. And like, I don't know, it was kind of like, am I concerned that I can't like even cry about it anymore? Like I wouldn't say over it, but like I was so focused on other things and glad to finally be focused on other things. I felt like I had processed a lot of it. And when I came back from Michigan, my grandma passed away and she was kind of about to pass away. It was like a couple days left. And I felt like I needed to text him and tell him that, which, you know, it's like a family matter in a way, but like he's not part of our family anymore.
No, but that makes perfect sense because he was for so long.
Yeah. And like he very much had like a personal friendship with my grandma, like they were buddies.
I actually think that's really sweet of you and like mature of you to know that he might care about that.
Yeah, it was considerate. Like I knew in the moment I didn't have to, but like I'm gonna give him this like solid here. And I remember like his response like actually did bring me to tears immediately, and that was the first time like I cried in like 3 months. Was he kind about it? Yes. Okay. Yeah. It was more of the sense of like, okay, like this is gonna be the first big moment in like my family's life that he won't be part of. Yeah. You know, and there's gonna be more of that. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like when we have the funeral, like he won't be there. Like when my niece goes to school, like the first day, like he won't be there. So that was a lot. And hold on, I'm gonna grab tissues. No, actually don't, because I'll almost. And also cry as much as you want. I've cried on this podcast so many times. I'm just like my voice is breaking. It's not even crying. But it's okay to because that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I remember when he was here for his episode and he was talking about your niece. Mm-hmm. Like, I know he cared a lot about that. So that makes perfect sense. That would be upsetting for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what was I going to do? Oh gosh, when is this question going to go? That's okay. I think that, like, so after our mediation, it was feeling like, okay, this is real, you know, this is really happening. And I definitely started to like miss him as well for the first time in a long time. Like, because you're angry and you're hurt, and then you're focusing on yourself and you're like healing. And then you just like kind of forget, thankfully, about a lot of things. Yeah. And then when it's becoming final, you can kind of like zoom out and see like your friendship that you had and who they are as a person, and just like those longer like memories from longer ago when things were good. And I was also though relieved about like the fact like the mediation, like the financial stuff like finally was behind me, and like I knew what I was going to walk away with, and I was a little less stressed about that. So again, like my brain could kind of focus back on like, the healing, because it's only allowing you to do one thing at a time. Like your brain is always protecting you and giving you only what you can chew off of each time. So the last few weeks now, we're just kind of like waiting for the paperwork to be finished and then we can file. So it's been like 4 weeks since then. And I've been kind of like busy setting up, getting my finances, all my bills like in my names and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a lot to do. But I took a trip to Portland last week to visit some friends there, and that was like shockingly like so hard. Like really? I just like went because again, I committed so long ago when I was like in a really good space, and I was like, this will be such a fun trip. And then I'm now in this like weird headspace and this like fog of grief, as they call it. And I'm like, I'm gonna rally, like, let's just go. So I went, and I think it was really good for me because I finally had like true quiet time and like alone time. And I remember just like driving around and seeing places that like we had gone together, because we've been to the city like several times. We actually wanted to move there together. And I've been there since we were in this process as well, which like last time it didn't hit me that way. Yeah. For some reason it did now. And it's like weird to picture like the person that you were back then. Yeah. And like, it's like, oh, like there's that store that like we went to and like we were happy. Or like, it's like watching a movie again, like where you're like, oh my gosh, like that girl in there having dinner with her husband at the time, like she was so like innocent, you know? And it's like you're grieving that as well, like that loss of innocence and youth. And you know, it's just like you don't know how to like place the two identities of like before and after. It's like very weird, very weird. And then, you know, just the fact that that was going a certain way, and like now we're here, you know? And so see if I have anything more to say about that part. Yeah, and so just being able to like remember farther back, and I'd say now what I feel in right now is just like the sadness is like a full feeling, you know, where it's painful. Like depression is like an empty feeling, and like a numb feeling. Like you don't even know what to. It's
describe. Like in your chest. I was just talking about that in the episode I posted today.
I saw that clip, and I was like, that's why I want to bring this up, because there's different types of anxiety too. Like there's like weird positive anxiety, I feel like, for me, but no, this is pretty negative. Just not, just like you just like don't even know what you're feeling. It's like so weird. That's where I like tend to use the term like fog of grief, because it's just like, you know, you're not right and you can't figure out why. And then you remember like, oh well, I'm going through a divorce. So
and I also would guess from what you've told me that like if what you're talking about, like a fog of like I don't know what I'm feeling, you're probably feeling conflicted too, because there was reasons why it ended, but also reasons why you wanted to stay, and like I could see where it would just like kind of all convolute into a fog.
And like seeing him on our mediation meeting was like very triggering, because
were you in person or in Zoom?
All in Zoom. Okay. Like I feel like I saw like a glimpse of the person that like he used to be. And it's like you immediately like want to, you go into like the mode of like you want to protect them, but like you can't anymore.
But that also sucks, because like you're crying and I've cried, not for the same reasons, but in the same feeling. And it also sucks as being women, because like I don't know if they feel the same way. Like that is like a female feeling of like, I've done that before in breakups where I'm like, like I look at all the background of why they're doing this, and I'm like, I look at like, we
try to like explain
exactly, and they just like do what they want to do.
It's so crazy. It's so loud. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they never think the opposite way, like about us.
No, I would be surprised if they ever did. No, I'll think about like a breakup like 4 or 5 years ago and be like, but his relationship with his mom wasn't great, so maybe I should cut him some slack. Literally, and I think they go into those like imaginary mediation meetings where in my head, and I think I don't think they feel the same way, and that actually does suck so bad. It's really tough.
You see things from like a purely self-motivated thing, and like we're always like trying to like give him a break.
I do feel that way. Yeah. I feel like there's probably men that are the exception, but I think the majority do that.
They're just like more emotionally like deep as well.
Yes, exactly.
Immature in all ways. So
but I'm sorry, that sucks.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's kind of it. There's also like a weird like trying to place where you're gonna be in society, almost like not society as a whole, but like your own social structure within your friends and family. And like it's weird when like you have been married and you're having been like in a coupleship, say, like you all hang out with like usually other couples, or like you can kind of see how like that there is a weird divide like once you are on the other end. And I am super grateful to have that experience. It's always going to give me more sympathy for people who are single, and like really keep them in mind and keep them included with things. And you can't like, it just is what it is, you know, like you're not going to get included or remembered about everything. And social events, if I'm not like feeling up to it, I remember just like you have your person with you, you know, to like go to this function with, and then you can leave together and like, you know, go get Dairy Queen afterwards. Right. So, like, if you're on your own, like, you know, it's just a lot. You can feel very burnt out. We'll probably talk about that in the next episode. More about, like, friendships, because there's a lot I have to say on that. But, feeling just, like, unsure about your place in your identity. That's, for sure. I'd say we covered that question. For sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and I didn't include this, so you don't have to answer it, but do you feel like you're kind of like looking back and maybe you're in the phase, and I've been in this phase, as if it's not the same, but it's similar, but like where you're kind of looking at it with a positive lens now, and you're kind of grieving and looking at it like that. Because sometimes I'll hit the end of a relationship and honestly years later, because it takes me a long time too, but I'll be like, actually, when we left that party, like Dairy Queen wasn't that like great. Yeah. And I was literally thinking, I'm like, did he get anything at Dairy Queen?
Oh,
yeah, truly.
Anything at Dairy Queen? That's funny.
I don't know. Yeah. Because I know what you're talking about, where like you feel like you kind of like look at it with a positive lens, and later you realize it isn't as positive.
Like rose tinted glasses, like, oh, what we lost was so great. And then it's like, no, it was just a basic boring marriage again. Like everybody has. No, I don't know. I think I'm pretty like in the middle about things.
Which it's fair whichever way you are.
Yeah. I think there is definitely a sense of like protecting my own memories of things, because it's like, what is that going to do to me to like think negatively about the past?
Yeah.
Again, we talked about that on the last episode too, like people coming in and stating their opinion of like what they thought of him or what they thought of this.
Yes.
And it's like, how is that serving me really to like focus on that right now? But I think with time, I'll be able to look at those things and evaluate them like with a more sound approach.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's totally normal.
And that will also give me a lot to go off of in terms of like the next relationship I would go into, like what I really am looking for,
right,
to compare those things. So it's not a bad thing. I think you should just be like in the middle when it comes to it.
No, I actually do think that's really healthy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always watch 500 Days of Summer when I'm like...
I've been thinking about that this entire time.
Literally, yeah. No, I did too. Have you seen it?
Of course.
Yeah,
like 20 times in my top 5 favorite movies.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome. Same.
And I love that episode you guys did a few weeks ago.
Oh, yes. Where I brought it up, yes.
Where the whole thing was about 500 Days of Summer.
Yes, yeah. Because I think about it all the time. But I think about it with breakups a lot, where I'm like, when his little sister comes in and goes like, I don't know, like maybe the next time you think about it, you should see it with a different lens.
Yeah.
And that's helped me a lot.
He goes back through like like the way he remembers it, and it's like in black and white. It's like
yeah. I'm like, he didn't see everything at the time, which I'm so guilty of. Yeah. Like probably, well, almost certainly more than you, but like, because you seem very balanced and you seem very grounded. But I do that in relationships all the time, where I'm like, we were so great. I romanticize it, And then when he finally goes back and realizes that like she wasn't into the records that he wanted, or like at IKEA they weren't on the same page anymore. I'm like, oh, that's so mean. I'm like, that's so mean.
I think you probably just haven't gotten to the point in a relationship where you got past that stage.
Yeah, probably.
But like, in a marriage, you get to this a little bit of mediocrity with it. That's normal.
Yeah.
So I think I definitely look back and be like, oh, like, yeah, we would drive in the car, and like he would only play his music, like he would never like want to play my music, stuff like that. So
yeah, I think there's little things like that.
I don't overly romanticize things, but I also now am being able to like pick up and remember like the sweet things that we had,
which is also good. You should. Yeah. I think that almost is like everything you're listing about grief, I think that almost is the final stage of grief, to list everything good. Because I think it's actually really like kind of emotionally immature when people are like, yeah, that person was all evil, like that person was all bad. And it's like, well, no person is all bad unless you're listing like the worst of the worst. And it's like, yeah, I feel like if you're a normal, like a healthy person, you go through all these stages of grief, and then when you finally land at the end, you go, yeah, but like they were really good at this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said that. And I think this is a great like jumping point to the next question, which is, you want to ask it?
You ask it, because I have like,
you asked me, how have you observed like people reacting to either the news of the divorce, or even just like the process of where you're at with it? And I was going to say, yes, not a lot of people, but people that are super close to me and are like in my family, of course, naturally will go into a very protective mode and say maybe some negative things about him that I just never found helpful. And I kind of had to put a boundary on that like multiple times with a few of them, because it's just it's not accurate. It's not their marriage, like they were not there.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
They almost bring their own like personal issues and their own ego into like your marriage. And it's like, unless I brought up the same thing, like don't bring that up to me,
I think that's so fair. Taylor always says match people's energy.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm going to get into that. But Yes, that's what I would absolutely do. Like, no one will be the true victim except the mate in the marriage.
Exactly.
Like, this is not about you. Yeah, I was thinking about how, like, the beginning, like, you get a lot of attention for sure at the beginning from people and wanting to kind of get the tea on things. And people like you aren't really close to either. And I don't think that's like a bad thing that they want to be involved or like understand or be aware. I think it's just a natural human thing to talk about the latest and craziest stories around the valley. But at the same time, like those very people like haven't checked in lately, with me. Yeah. And so that kind of reveals like their intention a little bit of like,
what's going on, Lacey? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not really any specific person I'm thinking of. It's just like a general feeling. When people get busy, like they don't realize you're still going through it. And a lot of people think like, oh, like you already got divorced. It's like, no, like we're very much like still in the very thick of a lot of it. But on the other hand, like there's people that like have not said a word. But I think that's very weird as well. Like I'd actually rather have it the other way where people at least are interested and like showed their almost like condolences, like had said something to acknowledge it. And then there's people that like, they just, I'm sure they feel like awkward or uncomfortable with it, or they don't want to, pry or like bring it up, like maybe in certain settings, like where you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I also think that's weird, like at a certain stage, especially because I am such an open person that I think they should know that they can ask if they want,
Yes. Yeah.
Or let's just say something at all. Like, just say, like, hey, I heard like that's rough. I'm sorry. You know?
So it wouldn't bother you if someone you hadn't talked to in a long time had been like, hey, I saw your Little Miss episode. I'm really sorry.
Totally not. Of course not.
It wouldn't bother me either.
I'd be very like, ooh, like, that's nice that you're thinking of me. You think of me. Nice.
But you think it maybe would bother you if someone you hadn't seen in 10 years had just ignored it?
It's not the people that I haven't seen in 10 years that I'm thinking of.
Okay, yeah. The people that you saw
that are like in the
a year ago.
Like,
yes.
No, like recent, like people that are like around. Yeah, it's just interesting to observe how people react is kind of what I was going to get with that. Like I don't take it personally, really.
Yeah.
It's just funny how people respond to negative situations. And it's the same thing with like with a death. I mean, I'm no different. If somebody had gotten divorced, like I'm sure there's been situations where I've not known what to say, and so you just choose to say nothing and you just like let it ride. And now that I've been on the other side of that, I can definitely see how I don't want to be that person, and I always want to like try my very best to be communicative and check in with them, not only when it first happens, but like continue.
Yes. I've heard people say that.
Yeah.
My mom always says that because she lost her first baby.
Yeah.
And she talks about how like it helps when people just ask her about it. Of like, and I've heard other people who had like, but maybe like, how was your marriage? Like, were you maybe like asking about happy memories about it? Like,
right.
If I were to apply that, yeah.
With like, oh, like let's keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
Let's like continue the conversation about them and not just let it like, this is a bad word, but let it die. Like yeah. I think that's in a way it's good. It depends on the situation. It depends on the divorce.
Yeah.
It very much depends on the divorce. So
do you feel like in your situation it would bother you to people for someone to be like, well, what do you like about him? Like would it bother to get like personal questions?
That's an interesting question. It would not bother me at all any which way. But I was thinking about how like say we put that question in death, like someone that you loved that died, like there is this expectation that that person that is left, with that loss, like will never be the same. Like they can move on, but they'll never get over it. Like that kind of thing. Like that's the expectation when somebody dies. But when there's a divorce, there is an expectation that you will get over it. And that you'll never think about it at a certain point. Like you'll have so much time pass that you'll never think about that person ever again. And you'll totally like replace them with another person. You'll get remarried. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that'll be the case with me, at least. Maybe it'll change, but like from where I see it right now, like he changed he created like the version of me that I am now, and maybe I will morph back into like my own identity, which we're gonna go into that soon. But I don't know. I don't think I will get to a point where like I don't think about him or the person I was with him or our relationship and the things we did in our 20s. You know, so
yeah, I don't think you should.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the healthiest like second marriages I know are the ones that like honor the first marriage. I know people and it is different when like it's a divorce versus a death. Like I see what you're saying, but like I think the principle still applies.
Yeah, I think people should kind of see them the same way in a way.
Yeah, because it did shape you. But I'm thinking of people who like their first marriage died for some reason and their second marriage, and like they seem very happy, but they still post every year about like their dead spouse. And they're very much
when
like
their spouse died?
Yes, yeah. They're like, this is like happy like anniversary. I don't know what they post exactly, but it's very much
that.
like
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like it just I don't know. And I've thought about that too. It's a very tricky versus like death versus separation. Like I don't know. But I see what you're saying where it's like, no, they made you the person that they are or that you are.
Yeah.
It's hard to just like ignore that.
Or just think like at a certain point, like we're never going to talk about them again. Or we're never going to like talk about your divorce again.
I don't think that's possible.
No. And so in that note, like the people that have continued to check in with me and like really try to understand and also process the grief or their own grief, because there's, you know, the closer the people are to me, the closer people were to him, you know? So like they're also going through their own grief too. So if we can continue that conversation, I think it's very helpful rather than just being like, okay, so you're divorced, right? Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Let's
so you're single
about it again. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
So anyway, that's and then the question that you were following that with was I wanted to talk about how I talked about how like I am trying to find like my footing with my friendships and like my place with my social group, which it's not like a bad thing. Everybody's been incredible.
Yeah.
But it's more something I put on myself. I think sometimes I feel like if I don't have the same circumstances as somebody else, then they won't be able to understand me or like be there for me in the way I need. It's not true. It's just something I like make up in my mind. But with that being said, like the people that have come to me and found me or I have found them that have really like been divorced have been like the most helpful for sure of the support of the friendships that I've had, because like they do get it, like you said about me being able to like be there for you in a hopefully more helpful way than maybe just, you know, Joe on the corner. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So it's just like people that you don't even have to describe like what you're feeling. They're just like, oh, I know exactly what you're feeling. You know? And then they're also able to tell you that it gets better, and you can actually believe them that it will.
It's kind of how like you can tell me that it gets better. I can't tell you because like I have not been where you're at. That makes sense. Where like someone who's been where you're at has the ability to be like, yeah, it's been like 2 years. I've been better. Like it does get better. That makes sense.
So I'm so grateful. There's like 3 or 4 people that I've like talked to regularly that have been divorced, and I hope I'm that way to somebody. Not soon. I'm good somewhere, but I hope that I can help them as well.
And I think you will. I think you're a very like outgoing person with your, I want to say comfort. I don't know, but I feel like you take what you've given or like what you've learned and you give it to other people. And I absolutely think you'll be that for someone.
Oh, thank you. That might be the one good thing to come about this whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me read if I had anything else here. Oh, okay. You have said what has helped you. Like, what have people said that have helped you, like in their response?
Yes, yeah.
I have found like a lot of, especially women, if you say like, oh, I'm going through a divorce, a few of them have said like, I'm so proud of you. And like, that's an interesting answer to this situation. Of course, they're sorry, and some of them may not know the circumstances, but I think that's a beautiful thing to say. Period.
Do you like that?
I really like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like they were saying like, oh, what you're doing or like, is it good? It's like what you're going through is not like what you wanted or a happy thing, but whatever the circumstances are, like the fact that you're here and like able to continue your life, like that is to be proud of. So
no, and that
really
super
like that.
is. I also think maybe there's a sense of like there's so many women that go through what you go through and don't get divorced. And I think like every divorce, every separation is different. But if I was in that situation, like I mean, I'm proud of you for like going through the hard part when you weren't happy. Like I think there's a part of that.
And some of them have said like, I'm happy for you.
Yes, and I am. Yeah, and I am.
Especially the ones that do know the circumstances are like, oh, like you are better off, and like it sucks right now, but like you will be so happy. But that it's just a more empowering way of saying like, I'm sorry, and of like I see you as well. Like when people, or just me envisioning the words like rebuilding your life, rebranding. I like that too.
I do like that.
Redefining femininity, resilience, deserving better, attracting positives, people that are saying like your opportunities are limitless right now, like the world's your oyster, like those kinds of positive affirmations have been really helpful. And it just opens up a conversation where it's like, okay, this really is devastating, but I can also look at the bright side.
Yes. Too. Yeah.
So I've definitely felt good about that. There is one more thing.
Yes. No. Go ahead.
It was all within the same question. You said, how do people react? What has helped you and what someone should say? Yes. So this is now the third part of that. So what someone should say. And we talked about this earlier, like just reflect what the person is giving off.
Match their
reflect
energy.
The vibes. Exactly. Match their energy. Thank you. And like, if I am in a mood where I'm like angry about what happened, then you can totally be angry with me. And a lot of people are. But then if I'm just like sad about losing like the good things, don't come in there and be like, yeah, but remember this.
Yes.
You know, it's like, it's not, first of all, you were not there during every moment either.
Yes.
So, and it's like, this is not about you either. Like, you were not the victim. Stop trying to put yourself into my situation.
No, I think that,
like piggyback off of my divorce to like go through your trauma. Like,
yeah, truly. No, that makes perfect sense. Because I think like people have the tendency to be like, well, this is all the issues I had with them.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and now we can finally talk about it.
Exactly. And it's
me.
like, well, maybe in this specific time we can.
Right.
Other times, I just want to talk about the good times. I want to talk about how sad I am. Like, I don't want to hear about your like issue in 2012 about them. You know, like this is just that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it's like you are still trying to protect not only them and like what good you can take away for them and for yourself, but you're kind of still protecting your own choices too. Like if you're going to say all this bad stuff about them, then that reflects on me and why I chose them. You know? And now I feel defensive.
Yeah.
Not only of them, of myself now too. So it's not helpful all around.
It's like the last thing you need. Plus you're like being defensive about, for your case, your 20s. Where it's like if you invalidate the person that I married in my 20s, to a certain extent you like invalidate my 20s.
Yes. Yeah. Very true. So yeah, just being with the person with whatever they're going through, just be there, just sit with them, even if you do not understand, just like listen, obviously, and then just including them in activities and knowing that like everything about their life is different now, and one conversation may not just be enough, you know, like they're going to continue down a rabbit hole, and like just show them that you're there, you know, just be visible with them. So
no, that's great advice. Okay, so the next question I have is your feelings about like memories, places, milestones with like someone that is no longer in your life, how it feels like. Does it feel like grief all over again? How does it turn into a positive? And then there's a small caveat about like, do you keep gifts from your exes? Like, how do you feel about it when they gave it to you versus now? Like, I don't know. I'm interested from like your perspective.
Yeah. I kind of talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but like, at the beginning, I didn't really think about sentimental places or milestones, but now like that we're coming up to a year of when things kind of started to derail, I am kind of, it's like almost like a seasonal feeling, like like deja vu almost of like the person and what we were going through last year this time was so different. And I definitely struggle with that for sure. Like just trying to like figure it out, like trying to place it. It's just such a difference. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like you don't associate with the person that you were, but that's like still you.
Yeah.
You know? And now like my circumstances are so different. I am so different that, and I like the different that I am. It's just like hard to place.
Yeah.
It's hard to like configure in your brain. And I talked about that in therapy, and she's like, with time, like you will connect, you'll like reconnect with that person, like with yourself of that person at the, you know, somebody that got you through those difficult times. Like the girl that struggled through it, like she's valuable. Like she's the one that's deep inside. I'm getting kind of weird with this now, but
no, that sounds like a very therapy conversation. My therapist loves to be like, "Well, what would little you do?" And I'm like, "Well, little me probably wouldn't be
like
going through this breakup."
Like she goes into her own head. That's me.
Yeah.
Also, because she kind of looks like me with like short blonde hair.
I'm done.
My little pink outfits. But yeah, and then again being like in Portland, and that was just like weirdly unsettlingly weird.
Because like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys took a trip to this, what is that?
Oregon?
West? Did you just go to Oregon, or did you like do a road trip? Okay, just Oregon.
Yeah. But
you guys went to Oregon like shortly before your separation, right?
Yeah. So
and I can see why that's very like
we spent a lot of time there, like. And I do not think of it negatively. Like, I think it was a really positive experience. But it just was so shocking that it like ended so quickly right after that. And so people were confused too. So like, were you just in Oregon for like 6 weeks, like having an incredible time posting pictures of
weren't you guys in a cabin, like living it up?
Literally living it up. And we genuinely were happy. Like, I mean, I think he feels that way too. So, things can change real quick. But I think like when you're in your routine here, like in your home state, I don't know, I don't really have like, I have my own connections to places because it's like I live here. Like I operate, even when we were married, it's like this is still like my routine, my life. There's not like a bunch of like super sentimental areas around here. Maybe like a restaurant that like we would go to for a date night kind of thing. But like it is weird when you have traveled somewhere because you were you both weren't working, you were both like focusing on intentional quality time together. So I do wonder if like if I went back to like Thailand or Japan, if like I would have that same like weird deja vu feeling that I had just recently in Portland. And maybe I just shouldn't do that for a while. Which is kind of easy to do.
Yeah, maybe check out Europe first.
Yeah. There's a lot of places to go I haven't been. So that'll be good. But then keeping gifts from ex-partners, that's definitely an interesting topic too, because it's been a while since like I feel like I've gotten a gift from him, but as far as like items go, like obviously like your wedding ring, like, what are you gonna do with that? You know? And I've talked to girls that have been divorced, and some of them just don't hold a lot of sentimental value with it, or like they had a like really toxic marriage that they don't want it anymore. And they're like happy to get rid of it and happy to like get some money for it or whatever. Like they'll pawn it off.
Real of them, by the way.
I know.
They're happy to go to Europe on their like wedding rings.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if I made that much, maybe I would sell it. But it's boys' night, so probably not.
Yeah.
Didn't age well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I do have a sentimental thing with objects because I'm like, it's not their fault. Is that weird? Like
I think every person's different. That's why I asked the question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like my wedding dress, like it would never. People are like, "Oh, trash the dress, like burn it." Like
I don't think I trashed the dress.
I would never. That would hurt me more. That would be like actually more traumatizing than this entire situation. Like burning my wedding dress. Like what? what's going on here?
Well, do you feel like for you, if you burn it, it kind of like invalidates the marriage?
Yes, I think so. It's like a little bit of a reminder that like, and we talked about this on the last one, like what you, like the honor that you give to them and the respect that you pay to them. And those are symbols of, to me, you know, maybe it's shallow, maybe it's not, but like, it's a symbol of who I was, like as a wife. And I don't look at that negatively. Like I am very proud of that person. So, and I also
I think you should be. That's you in your 20s, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And then especially like, because it was like 8 years ago that we had our marriage, like it's like the newness of it. And like, those were the happiest memories for sure. It was like your wedding and like your engagement and dating. And like, I don't see a reason to get rid of that.
No, I don't either. But like, do you think you'll ever, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think you'll ever like put it into something else? Like make the wedding dress into something else?
I think I will keep it always, but I consider it like a family heirloom. Like my niece can have it and she can either wear it for her wedding or she can wear it for whatever she wants. We can play dress up with it. Like we can play wedding someday.
No, I think that's great.
I don't know. And I also like know that I don't have to know right now.
Yes. Like, and that's a great point. Yeah.
My friends like, and I have like our wedding pictures and like certain things. And I just put them in a box and I have them in a closet. Like, it's comforting in a way to know that like they're there, but they're not like out in the open, always like haunting me either. Yes,
because it does feel like they haunt you. Yes.
Yeah. I will say like my wedding ring is in my jewelry area, and sometimes I do look at it a little bit like hauntingly. So maybe I will figure out a way. Like maybe I'll like do some sort of like artwork and then like put it in there and like.
I think there's something you can do with
paper
it.
mache situation. I don't know.
Yes, but I do think that's a healthy like view of it. Someone was asking me because they had a friend that just went through a divorce, so they were asking me like, "Oh, does Lacey like hate her ex? Like, does she wish she was like never talked to them?" And I was like, "No, I think they're on great. Like, I think they're on really good terms as far as they could be." Mm-hmm. I was like, "No, I think Lacey like, I think she is what's the word." I was like, I think she's as well adjusted as she could be. And I do believe that, where like, I think you're aware of what's happening. You're very like conscious of it, but I don't think you're like in the weird, they're the worst person alive. I think you're very well adjusted in the fact of like, yeah, this was our life. We were married. This ended. And now I'm going to pay homage to that. But like, I'm not going to keep tabs on it, you know, like I do genuinely think you're like very well adjusted in that way. And I think what you're talking about, the wedding with ring with that, it makes sense, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna put that someplace where like if I want to look at it I can. I don't have to look at it all the time. Yeah
I think without therapy I would be in that spot. I don't know where I would be without therapy helps. It's already set me up for like viewing him as like a person, not like an enemy. And of course like I'll take things personally to the extent that like they should be, because some things should be.
Some things
are you have to like remember your own value and not like always put them ahead of yourself, especially if you're not even together anymore. What's the point?
And that is another
But just like on a human level, he's a person. And like I still see him as, of course, not a victim at all, but like, yeah, he's great. Like everybody's great. They're not all bad. They're not all good.
I think that's super healthy. And I also think like as women, we go back to like what we were talking about in the beginning of like, yeah, like if their relationship with their mom was different. And it's like, we see them as more of, I think women in general see them as more gray. But I also think it's very easy for women to fall into like, well, they were just like bad in every way. And it's like, well, no person is bad in every way.
Even if I did, I just wouldn't focus on it.
Yeah, and that's good.
Important.
Thank you guys. Oops, sorry, bug. My bad. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sorry for the abrupt ending, but the next episode that me and Lacey do, obviously, we're gonna have perfect audio. I'm not gonna let that happen again. I hope that you like, comment, subscribe. Please leave if you have any questions for me and Lacey the next time we do it. We'd love to answer them. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.